Hello my friends, I hope you're doing well. Thank you for spending a little time with me today. I kind of alluded to the fact that I may be doing this video soon in a past video, but I have a little like seasonal palette display that I do, and this may just be evidence of my pure makeup love. When I'm not doing makeup, I like to organize makeup, I like to think about makeup, I like to go through older things, I like to be reminded of the stuff that maybe I was once obsessed with but haven't used in a while. It's just really my thing, and it's sometimes I even fascinate my own self that the fire for it hasn't died down since I started doing videos or started getting really interested in makeup. And just like any video I do, the point here is not like, let's influence people to buy something. Click my link. You know, my links are there. They're nice. They do benefit my channel, but this is really about maybe inspiring someone else to also see the joy in what they have. The concept of shopping your stash, the concept of appreciating those items that maybe have been on hand a little while and celebrating them and putting them front and center. That's what I like to do. I have this palette display and it's right back there. And we're gonna go take a closer look at it. I'm gonna talk specifically about everything that I chose for my summer selection. And if you'd like to see these videos every season, I'd be happy to do them. What I use is just a little tiered display thing that honestly may have been originally intended for spices. But if you're in a store like TJ Maxx where they sell a lot of acrylic storage items, you can probably find something similar. Other things that are great if you want to display some palettes are like the little mail organizers that have a few little tiers and they just stand flat, and you can place a couple things in there. There's mail organizers that are more box-like that I've used over the years. I've really been doing this for some time, and it just excites me about makeup. It's practically like using your makeup as your decor. And there may be some palettes that I mentioned that you have and you're like, oh yeah, I remember that. That's a great summer appropriate palette. So yeah, let's take a closer look. Alrighty, so here's the little area back here. This is what's in my background. I've got my cactus stuff, I got my things just to look like there's a little more going on back there. We've got a little bit of a cloudy sky this morning. I do have a little lip storage thing because I have just always loved the packaging of these Milani lipsticks, these matte ones. I have the nudes and the more colorful ones. So there's exactly 12. It fits the space, and it's so pleasing to me to see those. I've got some of these ColourPop heart blushes and highlighters out still because I got those in PR, and again, it's something I adore the look of. These are the brand new babies right here, the Yucca palette from Natasha Denona, the Blessed Glitzy Fritzy and Sydney Grace palette. So I'm just kind of keeping those sort of front and center. I have the space, let's use it. And then this is my little container right back here. You see how far back it goes? It's got 1, 2, 3, 4 different sections. I just kind of shot my stash this season for some things that gave me a summery vibe in some way, shape, or form, or maybe some of them just specifically right now I'm really liking. And then the morning when I'm getting ready, I can always dig through my drawers. I can go through other things. I've done a massive declutter actually just this past weekend, getting rid of / retiring may be the word, some older palettes like naked palettes, things where, gosh, they actually mean something to me, but I don't need to have them actually in a drawer where I'm going to use them anymore. Anyways, what I've got out here, smaller ones in the front, taller ones in the back, you can kind of see. I thought I was just going to pull them out here, but it's going to be hard to hold my phone and do that, so maybe I'll just grab them and sit down. First one here is from M Cosmetics. Don't you love this little shape? It's the Divine Skies Faded Clementine. This is a summer vibe to me. I love the combination of the oranges and the plums, so I'm really excited to bust that out. From Viseart, this is my Neutral Mattes Milo palette. This is doing kind of a similar thing to the M Cosmetics that I just showed you. It's all matte. It's extremely satisfying to blend these warm mattes together and then come into these rich tones in the outer corner. It really gives you that true sunset kind of feel, where the horizon actually doesn't really look brown, but it looks kind of something like this, truly. I've always loved the look that palette created, and additionally, I do just love their warm matte palette. That one's always been beautiful too. If you like just working with those easy gradients, you guys know if you watch my videos, that's always a very pleasing part of the makeup routine to me, is when you're kind of setting up the look and the mattes blend together, or you just do a fully matte look and it looks so smooth and even and perfect. perfect. The Unbreakable Bond palette, I'm just loving this one so much from Sydney Grace. This is the light version of it, and I just thought this was such a pretty color scheme, such high quality shades. I think this kind of comes under the heading of maybe I didn't really pull this out because it made me think summer so much as it's just currently something I'm really liking to use. This one I hadn't reached for in a while, and I did use it just a couple days ago, the Laura Geller Neutral Wardrobe Baked Eyeshadow Palette. And sometimes I don't think about this one very much because really it's hard for me to visually think about this one. These little baked domes are sunken down in there, and sometimes I just don't get a clear picture in my mind when I think about this one, like what is it really? But it's full of beautiful bronzy finishes, and I love the look I did just a couple days ago with that. The textures are really nice. You might think, well, it's baked, is it going to be too dry? Are these shades capable of being really rich and blendable and smooth? And yes, they really are. Classic bronze pick here, but Natasha Denona Bronze Palette. If you own this, you know, like these sunshiny kind of bronzy popping off the lids types of shades. Definitely the type of thing I'd pull for if I'm looking for that beaming light coming off of my eyelids, because there's just so much shimmer here, and they really paid attention to do every possible tone of bronze. Italian Spritz, I mean this one, the Summer Fun palette, really. This one has got to be probably the most fun palette that I've pulled out. I love the bright pops of color. There are so many directions you can go with this one. Quality is actually overall quite good. I love that there's like light blue, the light purple, but some fun, rich ways to kind of pull things down, you know? It's a fun palette. Here's another one that didn't really make me think summer, but it's just new, and I wanted to keep it out. It's the Laura Geller Casual Collection, that Berry and, what's it called? Berry and Blossom. If I'm in a purple mood, this has some really pure purples in it. Also some pinks as well, and some browns. Laura Geller is really doing a nice job, not only with the baked formula, but just with classic pressed powder formulas. And guys, here's a big realization. I had not used Urban Decay eyeshadow in a long time, just period. No real reason. There just hadn't been anything really brand new that took me to the brand, and I just hadn't gotten into my Urban Decay drawer in a while. So there were two palettes that I pulled out when I was shopping my stash. One is the Wild West palette. This can do some kind of fun looks, okay? It's got some deep teal, it's got some really nice richness in here with the mattes, and then you do have the bronzy shades. You have a really kind of poppin' teal color in there as well. This palette can be fun, and I want to bring it back into the forefront for myself. Also, the one I'm wearing today is the Wild Greens palette. This was new about a year ago, and I always enjoy the looks that I do with it. I'm a fan of olive. I'm a fan of these light kind of sage greens. So like for today's look, I used a lot of Stash and Twist. I've got some of this warmth also kind of radiating out of the crease, but you know, just easy casual look. You can enjoy color without it being a big, loud, wild show, you know? And then I paired with that my Jungle pencil from Makeup Forever, the Aqua Resist. These last so well, and I used it as like smudgy outer liner on top and bottom. So happy to pull that one out. We've still got more palettes to discuss. You're gonna be surprised at how much fits in this little area. Too Faced Born This Way, the Natural Nudes. I've really been enjoying this one. Over really recent months, I find that every look I do with this turns out so smooth. I have to really credit the mattes here. They end up looking just a little more rich. Tell me if you feel this way too. Shades like these, they end up giving off just a little more color than you expect. And I think I may have originally criticized this palette for there not being enough differentiation between those kinds of shades, but really when you blend them, they end up looking so smooth and seamless. Okay, so close gradients in palettes can sometimes be a really good thing. And then, you know, I'll just pat usually a couple of those shimmers on the lid. Sometimes they make me work for it a little bit, but I always love the end look. Lawless the One, lots of summertime warmth, great quality if you're into talc free. This was a palette that had been on the market for a while, and then I think I just purchased it last year. I really enjoy taking the oranges and mixing them in with the purples. That has always been like a color scheme choice that I'm a fan of, and I feel like summer is the key time for it. So you're seeing me kind of make that pick over and over in some things. Violet Voss Pro eyeshadow palette, the hashtag palette, I guess it's called. This is still being sold to this day. I wore this the other day, and sad news, this created so much fallout. So much fallout. Again with the purples, oranges, and golds. but man, it was bad. It was like I immediately knew I was getting some fallout when I used some of this on my outer lid, and I thought, okay, you know, I'll dust it away, we'll be done with it. And then as the look continued, it must have been like resting in my lashes or something, sifting down as I continued doing my lip color. It was like there was more and more. It was never ending. I'm not sure it's worth it for me to keep this, especially considering the amount of times I've had this color scheme crop up in my collection. Another thing was I found myself wanting more darkness here. We do have the black, we do have this, but I feel like there needs to be a little more richness to balance out these rows and rows of shimmer. This is a beautiful palette. This is a palette that has been wildly underused by me. The iconic London, it's called Sunset to Sunrise palette. Some of you may have remembered when this originally came up, but this has some unique, pretty, fun shimmers. Looking down the rows, you can see cool kind of plummy, but we've got some splashes of some absolutely sunny, brilliant shades. It's for the person who likes neutrals, but they also like a little bit of pop as well. Pat McGrath Bronze Seduction. If you saw the sultry summer look, you know why I'm keeping this around. This is a gorgeous palette, and we went the traditional bronze route with it, but there's so much more glitz in here, so I just thought, gosh, I want to make sure I pick that up and get a lot more use out of it this summer. Here's a palette. This is from ABH. It's the Primrose palette. A lot of these palettes, by the way, still being sold to this day, but I believe this came out shortly before the holidays, maybe not this past year, but the one before, and I just feel like it screams summer, probably also fall, but look at that. I mean, these colors, I love a pairing of peach and plum. The Bare Minerals Happy Place quad. Does anybody remember that? Back when they were doing those ready eyeshadow quads, so they were first getting into doing a pressed shadow formula, and it was beautiful. And they had basically like, you know, peachy kind of shades like that, some plum and purpley tones, and they complement each other so well. So you're seeing me pull for that in some more like bright ways with some of the purples and golds, like what you saw in the Violet Voss palette, but here's a little bit more muted, real easy way to pull those shades together. And we have golds, bronze, a couple of face colors in here, which I think is interesting for ABH. So that is a truly stunning palette, and I remember really picking it as one of my top faves during the holiday season that was out. And then this one from LA Girl, Sunkissed Glow. Talk about an affordable brand that really came with consistent quality with this one. A really basic palette, honestly, but so well balanced, light to dark. Top 2 rows are shimmer, bottom 2 rows are matte, and they just did it 100% beautiful quality all throughout. I know I haven't been doing a lot of swatching this video, but you should know these are really full-on shimmers, and the mattes are so smooth and creamy. Just a few more, gang. I've got to be honest with you, the Patrick Ta palettes, they live back there. I don't even know where I store these in my collection because they just stay in that palette display always. And the Major Dimension 2 just took a Major Dimension fall off my lap and bounced on the floor, and I held my breath like, I hope nothing cracked. It didn't. So this is the Rose one. This was the first one I got. I have a special, like, heartfelt connection to these palettes. They are so beautiful. They are so fun. Talk about fun blendable gradients, but then the absolute glimmer in the shimmer shades that does not travel. It stays where you put it. And the cream's over here under a little window. The thought, you know, I love that one. That's my tip top fave, but I also have really enjoyed the more bronzy one too. This was the first one he put out. See how that's more brownish bronze, getting a little peachy vibe, maybe even a dirty rose gold vibe out of some of that, but both just absolutely impeccable palettes. 2 more things that I pulled out. Cinnamon Swirl from Too Faced. Look at this and tell me this doesn't make you think summer here with the bronze tones, the plum as well. And a cinnamon roll is completely appropriate any time of year, and I don't think we should be made to feel otherwise. It's always fun to look through your Too Faced stuff and be like, what out of season thing actually feels really right now? Also this one, big time murky summer fun right here with the Rose Metals from ABH. This palette is gorgeous and everything is murky, hazy. There's some really pretty fun, unexpected blends you can create with these shades. The mattes are not plentiful. They're like here, here, and this one overall performs like a matte, but it's a lot of shimmer. But the fact that the shimmers aren't so light causes you to be able to use them in a multitude of ways. Like, because they're more mid-tone shimmers, they can work in the crease too and do some really interesting layering fun things. If you like olives in here. There's a little berry in here that's fun to blend into some of these colors, so I really wanted to make sure I got some use out of rose metals. And guys, that is everything. That's everything that I put in my display. I know it seems like a lot, but it holds a lot, so I just go there with it. And again, this really isn't me trying to promote any one thing. I'm just trying to promote the habit of using what you have. I feel like I've bought very little new makeup over the course of this summer. Like the last Sephora or Ulta order I made seems like a long time ago. I am very fortunate to receive the occasional products in PR, and you know, if I'm walking through the aisles of Walmart, I might see a new thing here or there that I want to try, but I'm really enjoying this being the summer of intentionally using those things that have been around for a little while, and I want to get my good out of them, and I want to just enjoy them. It's fun to use them, it's fun to go through your stuff and pull them out, and what you do with your stuff does not have to be a display area. Maybe it's a small stack on your table, maybe it's a cute little shelf, maybe it's a whole drawer. You know, you do your thing. I'm just trying to give a little inspiration here. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you all again very soon. I love you. Bye.